You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello, and welcome to episode 139 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey gang, how's it going? Hope everybody's doing well. Hope your week has been fantastic so far. What are we talking about this week? Well, that's a good question. I thought about it a lot. I was going to do another poetry reading, but that's too soon. I was going to maybe talk about something deeply personal and emotional, and I thought, maybe not. And then I was going to do maybe a book review episode where I talk about all the self-help books that I've been reading or wanting to read or that I've purchased and haven't read yet. And yet, nope, none of those topics are happening this week. Guess what we're talking about? We're going to talk about just some random updates from life because it's been a while since I've done a life update episode. Last week we had Corey Robin on, and he talked about his life in post-fame Timmins here in town. And that was an excellent episode, got a lot of downloads, and he shared it on his social media. And if you're not following him, and Robin in the City on Facebook, you definitely should be. The week before, what did I do? Let me think. I should know this because I recorded it. Oh, it was about money. That's right, that's what it was. So we haven't had a very deeply personal, emotional episode in a few weeks, so we're going to do one of those coming up fairly soon. However, I'm not feeling it this week because work has been really crazy lately, you folks, you guys, girls, people out there in podcast land. Don't know how much I should say, but I need to get it out of my system, so that's what you guys are subjected to this week on Soul Forge Podcast. I hope you're prepared. Anyway, it's not that bad. Well, maybe it is. Well, you know what? I'm just going to start at the beginning and we'll go from there. We have been out of contract. Well, before I even get into that, just for any new listeners, what do? I am a letter carrier at Canada Post. What does that mean? I'm a mailman. I deliver people's mail, and mostly flyers and a lot of parcels. Okay, that's fine. So that's the background. I've been doing that since, I got hired April of 2007. I worked casual for a year and a half, and then I worked part-time sorting on the inside for a year and a half, and then after 3 years I finally got full-time hours, and it was only in the last 6 years that I have my own route. Okay, so that's the background. We have been out of contract for just over 2 years now. And what does that mean? Well, it means that we haven't had a raise in 2 years, that's for sure. Means, you know what, I don't really know what it means because I still go to work, I still deliver the mail, I still get paid every 2 weeks. It's not that big of a deal really, but it kind of is because we should have a contract, we should have some kind of job security, and they're always trying to take away our anything that we've gained, like they're trying to reduce our benefits, they're trying to reduce pay for new hires, they're trying to mess around with our pension and that kind of thing. Take away all the advantages that the union has fought for over the last 40 or 50 years. Okay, so they've been apparently negotiating off and on for the last 2 years, and recently they extended the thing to June, so by the time that gets resolved, 2.5 years out of contract, and that's not even a guarantee that we'll be in contract. Whenever the contract gets signed, we'll get back pay for the 2.5 years or however long it is, but of course it'll be all taxed, so it'll just be a couple $100. But that's beside the point. Last week, the union decided that we were going to do a little bit of job action. We were going to follow all of Canada Post's rules to the letter. So we were going to take all our required breaks, and we were going to tie out our route by the sheet. All of our routes have what we call tie-out sheets. That's the designated line of travel. So usually those things are kind of messed up, and there's a lot of dead walking and stupid ways of going about delivering the mail. And for the most part, we all modify it our own selves so that it's a little bit more efficient. And the reason that the routes are made so ridiculously in the first place is so that it takes us longer to do the routes, because when the routes are made, the people from corporation work with some of the letter carriers, and the letter carriers try to make the routes longer so that we don't lose any particular routes. We have what's called a restructure every few years, where they come in and they try to make the town a little bit more efficient, try to reduce jobs so they have less to pay, that kind of thing, and we fight against it. So we had one of those back in September. We'd had the old routes for 5 years, and then these new ones have been around since September, and they're awful. Nobody's liked them. And the thing is, the corporation knows that the route measurement system that they have is ridiculous, and the last time it was updated is the late 70s, early 80s. And it doesn't work for today's modern society because there's a lot of parcels and flyers that they didn't have back then. So everything's ridiculous, and they're not fixing it, and they don't care. So last week we decided that we were going to follow all the rules right down to the letter, follow the tie-out sheets, take our breaks, take our lunches, because most of us just work right through, and then we're done whenever we're done. So last week we started, and because we're following the sheets and we're not making it efficient, a lot of us brought back bags of mail because we couldn't finish the entire day within the allotted 8 hours. So mail has been piling up and piling up and piling up. The flyers are piling up, and it's just a big mess, and there's mail all over the work site. And on top of that, you guys all know how I've been on this route for the last 5 months, and it's awful. It's probably one of the worst routes there is because there's lots of hills, there's lots of gates that you have to open and close, lots of dogs, and stairs up to mailboxes. That's something you guys should know. If you have a mailbox at the top of your stairs, take it down, put it at the bottom, because the mailman walks enough during the day, and he doesn't want to walk up your stairs too, because it's exhausting. And, nobody thinks about that, because people park their car in front of the mailbox, their garbage bins are there, their power cords, extension cords, rakes, shovels, you name it, it's all leaned up against the mailbox, because nobody thinks about the mailman. So that's just annoyance. One of the worst routes that there is, mail slots suck, because you have to, it's just annoying. If you have a mail slot, get rid of it. Put up a mailbox. So anyway, that's what I've been dealing with for the last few months, and it's awful. Last week, I was notified that I was getting a new route, which is awesome, because the route that I have right now, the standard amount of flyers that I get to deliver is, I think, 821 on the route that I have. The new route has 571, so that's almost 250 less flyers that I have to collate. And we often get 3 or 4 sets at a time, and you have to shuffle them together, and then you have to deliver them all, and it's annoying on top of the mail and everything else, and they just don't stop coming, and everybody hates flyers. Well, neighborhood mail, that's what they're calling it now to make it sound better. So anyway, I was supposed to start last Thursday, but because we've had this job action, and that route in particular hasn't gone out as efficiently as it's supposed to, it's been backed up, and then I was supposed to take it over this week, and there's still trays of mail all over the place, and I told my supervisor, I said, listen here, I want to take over the new route, I'm looking forward to it, but it's a gigantic mess, and until it's cleaned up, I'm not doing it. So I actually put my foot down and stood up for myself, which is kind of awesome, because I don't often do that, at least not as much as I should. You know what else I should do? Play a promo for another podcast here on the ESO Network.
Check out what's been going on with the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse.
The better that these Marvel films do, the higher the standards are going to be for not just other films in general, but other Marvel films also.
I think it's really hard to end a show with this many fans in a satisfying way.
That's the Pop Culture Cosmos Show,
and the PCC Multiverse.
playing worldwide on radio 7 days a week and right here on the ESO Network.
And wasn't that fantastically wonderful? I don't know which one that is because I haven't looked at the editing process yet. But whatever it was, I'm sure it's fantastic. Go check it out. Go listen to it. Go download all their back catalog after you listen to the rest of this Soul Forge episode. Okay, so anyway, back to what I was talking about. It's supposed to take over this new route. It's going to have less flyers. It's going to be more flat. There's going to be, what is it? It's just supposed to be nicer. The only thing is, right now, when I'm doing my route, I walk out from the post office and I walk back because it's right close by. I'm going to have to take a cab now, and that's not so great because you have to wait for the cab, and it's cold sometimes, and sometimes they take forever to get there, and if it's raining or it's snowing, it's not always the nicest. But if that's the worst of it, that's not too bad. So I'll have a flatter route. From what I remember, I haven't delivered in that area for 7 or 8 years. There's a lot less stairs up to mailboxes, so that's good. 250 less flyers will mean less pay, of course, because we get paid by the flyer, although it's only like a penny per flyer, so it's not that much. So really, once they clean it up and I go over to that side, it'll be great, and life will be grand. However, back to the whole work action, job action thing, everybody's been stressed out to the max. Mail has been piling up. People are sniping at each other. Apparently, and this is just a rumor, but I'm going to spread it anyway because I need something to podcast about this week. A couple people got suspended for, I don't even know what yet. I haven't heard anything official, but I know they've been sniping back and forth with the supervisors, and I guess they finally just had enough. I guess part of the main problem is that some people didn't agree with our job action and just wanted to do the routes their own way because they didn't want to work all day. And they just wanted to do their routes the most efficient way as possible so that their customers got their mail and there was no delays in anything. But now there's drama. In fact, today I came across a rumor about me that said, well, actually, what happened was apparently some people called HR or talked to the supervisors about the job action and they didn't agree with it. Instead of coming up to the union president and talking to him about it because it was apparently his idea, but it wasn't. It was something that we all talked about and decided to do, and we were all on board. But of course, people aren't always on board these things. So anyway, the rumor was that I had called HR to complain about the union president, and I was like, what? Me? And anybody who knows me knows that I don't make a phone call for anything if I don't have to. I'm the type of person that will go to the store or wherever and talk to the people directly instead of making a phone call, because I hate talking on the phone. I'll only do it if I have to. In fact, when I had my existential crisis last April and I called EAP, it took me weeks in order to call EAP. I think it maybe took me 2 months to work up any kind of nerve or whatever to call, and that was to help out my own damn self and my own mental issues. So really, would I have called HR to complain about our union president? Not likely. If I was going to complain at all, first of all, I would have brought it up to him directly. And second of all, if I was going to bring it up to anybody and go to HR, I would go into the office of HR, and it's down in Toronto, which is 8 hours away, or wherever the hell it is, maybe London. I don't know, that's 12 hours or something. I don't know. That's somewhere far down south. So anyway, long story short, got to hear a rumor about myself that's totally unfounded and not even realistic and doesn't match my personality. So I don't know who spread the rumor, but my good friend told me about it, and I was like, that's just weird. And on top of it all, because of all this mess, our union president gave his resignation, and now we don't have a union president. So I don't know who's going to take over. It's not going to be me, because it's an awful job, and he's been doing it, I think he said, since 2009, and it's affected his personality, and yeah, it's just not good. Now, should I be talking about any of this crap? Probably not. But I wanted to give you guys an update of what's going on. And that's work-life balance that is all out of whack, so it's not really balanced. But that's just the work stuff. Personal life-wise, everything's going fantastically. I've been giving myself over to the whims of the universe. And what do I mean by that? It means I'm not trying to control or direct the currents or the flow of life. I'm just letting things happen and going with it. And it seems to be working out pretty well so far. I have no major complaints other than the whole work thing. So I'll probably have updates for you shortly. All you need to know is that once I decided just to go with the flow and not fight against the currents of life, it's so much easier. Have you ever tried that? It's like just have faith in the universe that it knows what it's doing for you. You know, you have to make your own. You can't. How am I trying to say this? It's hard to describe because it's a new way of thinking for me. Like you can't just sit back and do nothing. Like if the universe gives you an opportunity, you have to jump at it. Like for instance, if you're looking for a new job, you can't just sit in your house and hope a new job comes. You take a look through the newspapers and whatever, and you'll look through and you'll say, "Oh, look, there it is. That's the perfect job," and then you apply for it. So you actually have to do some of the work, but you tell the universe what you want. You think about it, and an opportunity is going to come out and just be there for you. And all you have to do is seize it. And that's what I've been doing. Not with jobs or anything, just with things in life in general, and it works out pretty well so far. That's it. That's all I got for now. It's not a very emotional episode. It's kind of disjointed. It's all about work and things I probably shouldn't be saying, but I didn't use any names, so it's not bad. I think I'm going to stick with it because I was thinking about that some more. Because late last year I was talking to my son's mom all about this stuff and whether I should keep my job or not. And I'm going to keep it for now because I've got 13 years seniority. In a year and a half, I get another week of vacation. I've got a pension. I get paid for 8 hours a day, even if I only work 6. Lately, I haven't been because it's been awful. But this new route's coming up soon, as soon as they clear out the mess. And, I get my exercise because I walk about 5 hours a day, or 25,000 steps, give or take a couple thousand. So yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah. I think that's where I'll leave it for now. Just a quick update about work-life balance and the messed up situation at Canada Post. Would love to hear some feedback from you guys if you got anything to say or any stories about your own messed up work situation. That would be interesting to hear. soulforgepodcast@gmail.com is where you can reach us. And until next time, thanks for coming by the Forge. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Maybe leave some feedback for us. Maybe leave a 5-star review in the iTunes store. Check out all the podcasts on the ESO network. And until next time, remember, every storm runs out of rain. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you'll tune in again next time. Remember that you can visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links. And don't forget to share the show with everyone you know. The Soul Forge Podcast is your best source for living your best life.
Think about it.
Through rain, sleet, and snow, mailmen across the country are busier than ever during the holiday season. Nothing different here in Iowa City. Austin Love caught up with one local mailman to see how he is making an impact in our community.
Every morning on the corner of Court and Grant Street in Iowa City, local postman Swen Arwine starts walking.
I walk anywhere from 12 to 15 miles a day.
House to house.
Don't need a membership to a gym.
Mailbox to mailbox. Upstairs and through yards. Each stop with a story.
So I have a porch on my route that I walk on and I start laughing because it smells just like my grandma Arwine's porch. The same exact smell. I enjoy going there every time because it reminds me of my grandma when I go on there.
With a lot of packages to deliver, in Swen's 5 years delivering mail, this is the busiest holiday season he has ever seen.
This is the biggest year for packages, plus it came a lot sooner than it normally does. Usually there's a 2-week period right before Christmas where it would hit hard. Now it's been 6 to 8 weeks ahead of Christmas, and it's a lot more consistent every day.
Which increases the time spent at work.
This winter so far, and 1 to 2 hours on everybody's route. So normally you get your route done at 8 and everybody's working 10 now just to get their own routes done.
A long day of carrying mail, magazines, and sometimes some pretty interesting packages.
I delivered a pair of antlers once that were wrapped in bubble wrap.
Swen enjoys the hard work.
You leave with a truck packed full of stuff, and then
by the end of the day, it's empty. So you know you did something. You can physically see that you did something.
While working 7 days a week during the holidays sometimes takes him away from the people he loves the most.
Not being home to your kids, during this time of year is kind of tough.
Fighting off dogs and all.
Tough every time this dog gets running full speed and dives and hit the window. Every day, every single day.
Swen has learned nothing beats being the mailman.
A lot of customers will give you cookies, they'll give you candy, they'll give you all kinds of things to thank you for delivering the mail, always being there every day. Because if you think about it, it's one thing in people's lives that's always consistent. Every day, that guy in the blue uniform is going to show up at my house.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.